uh, Tennessee Valley listeners to WDJL 1000 AM. This is the Spirit of the Community, sponsored by Black Wall Street. My name is Hillman Muhammad. I am the State Director for Black Wall Street, Alabama. And we are proud to be a part of this gospel explosion and the community-based radio station here. We call our show The Spirit of the Community, showing that a spirit is needed today. You know, in the scripture, in John, it talks about the hour is come, and those who worship him should worship him in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh thus to worship him in spirit and in truth. So he's talking about this time, brothers and sisters, listening audience. He's talking about this time. The Spirit of truth is present. But the thing of it is, so is Satan vying for the mind of the people of God. Satan, we've been taught all our life, is an arch enemy of God. So when God's Spirit is at its fullness, spirit wickedness is at its fullness, disregarding the order and the time that we're living in and taking God's people off course. And this is the thing that the spirit of the community representing the truth, because Jesus said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But he said before he left, I cannot tell you right now, but when he comes, the Comforter, when the Comforter comes, the Spirit of truth, he will reveal all things to you. This is being revealed today, brothers and sisters. I'm not preaching religion. I'm preaching scripture. The scripture says this and this and that. Religion today is saying something that's mixed with truth, and it's mixed with falsehood, which in totality is a falsehood. Anytime you mix truth with a lie, you don't get the truth. And I think today people are waking up to the fact that all that is going on around the inhuman incarceration of millions of people throughout America, the greatest incarceration in any country known to mankind is right here in America. And Huntsville and Alabama take a great part of this, take a great part in this. I'm sorry, I'm a little passionate now because this thing is weighing heavy on my mind. And because we say the truth, Black Wall Street, Alabama is running on a platform of a need for education on all levels. All levels of education is needed today because we've been fed false education. We go to college and our parents pay a lot of money, and we pay a lot of money, and we owe a lot of money for the degrees that we earn. But we don't have a degree in God's knowledge, God's time, God's presence. So this has to come outside of the university. We don't have a degree in how to operate a successful business. And this is something they do not teach. Even in the business schools, they do not teach the necessary part for you to be successful in business. And this is why Black Wall Street, through Genesis 15 Investment, has partnered up with a financial literacy program that offers online financial literacy. The Wall Street Journal, a few months back, had a front page article saying that there is a financial literacy crisis in America. Google Wall Street Journal talking about the financial literacy. So that is paramount that we have a financial literacy education. Black Wall Street, through Genesis 15 and other organizations, have been sponsoring educational seminars for the last 5 months We get poor attendance because I think you're satisfied with the quality of life you're enjoying. But there's much more life if you understand. One of my mentors have a saying. He say, knowledge is power. The lack of knowledge is expensive. And we have been paying the expense of not knowing. We don't know about our money. We don't know about our health. We don't know about our duty and the duties of the politician to the community, regardless to whether they Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever they call themselves. When they take the oath and put their hands on the Bible, which is full of scriptures about the treatment of God people, they owe an allegiance to the total community. And that brings me to a point that one of, I say, a symbol in the political arena. A lot of you have not even heard of her. She was a black lady that was a congressman from Texas. She had a saying, and it's engraved in her at her museum. Education remains the key to both economical and political empowerment. Education remains the key that unlocks the door to both economic and political empowerment. That's not a light saying. When we look at public policy, which we are going to have a press conference within the next couple of weeks, dealing with public policy, because this is election season. This is the time for senators, congressmen, state, and nation to be elected. We want to find out what is the public policy for the black community and the poor of this country. We want to know specifically from those that's running on a platform of incarcerating or having a lifetime tenure of incarcerating people for minor charges. This is what you find when you go to the prison system. I had the privilege one time of transporting in my limousine business in Houston, Texas, transporting the former senator from Kansas, Bob Dole, and he visited the prison system. I took him up to Huntsville, Texas. Wow, what a thing. Huntsville, Texas, where they electrocute the victim or the prisoners there, and they have the biggest prison system right there in Huntsville, Texas. And he visited that, and the next day I picked him up, and after he toured the prison system, I asked him how was his trip, and he told me, he said, Hillman, it's just too many people in prison for minor crime, nonviolent crime, for them to be housed in that kind of institution. So I say, Mr. Dole, you have a voice. You have to speak out. I know you're retired, but you still got a voice. People still listen to you. And he is really proactive with the veteran, but he's not so proactive with the criminal justice system that's incarcerated. We got to find out about the public policy, because what I have in my possession is the bill that did not make the floor, a bill to be entitled, it was dealing with racial profiling. In the last congressional hearing or whatever they had here in March or April, a state senator from southern part of Alabama tried to get this bill on the floor of their meeting, and it was denied to enact it as a bill. It was denied even to be placed on the floor. And I thought that was strange, and that the strangest part about it, no leader stood up to support these politicians. So this is where public policy comes in. If you and I want our political representative to support us, then we got to take off our house shoes and our slippers, our robes, our house coats, and all that, and get out and let them know what the community need and what we expect from them. The leaders in Huntsville is asleep or absent. And because of that, as the scriptures say, where there is no vision, and the leader's supposed to be offering vision, where there is no vision, the people perish. And this is what I see consistently. And what Black Wall Street has introduced into Huntsville and into Alabama, beginning January when we launched our movement here, was dealing with education, was dealing with a new type of leadership, which is transformational leadership. I'm going back to scripture. It say, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So if we have to be transformed, we need transformational leaders, not traditional leaders in the political arena or the religious arena. We need people that's elected official, that's over churches and organization, to understand we need you, leaders. And we're going to hold this press conference, and we're going to ask you to participate in this press conference. It's not against anything. It's for the platform of God. Black Wall Street is a spiritual movement. It's not a militant group. It's a spiritual movement in honor of God, our ancestors, both ancient and recent, and our future generation. We have to be concerned with that. If anybody has a heart, they have to be willing to take part in this movement. Because again, it's not against, it's for the betterment and for the preparation of God's kingdom here on earth. We read our scripture and we say that the kingdom of earth is at hand or coming. Well, it's here, ladies and gentlemen. And the destruction of this present civilization or a leadership form is underway. If you don't believe me, look at the fires on the West Coast. Look at the fires that's blazing out of control in the European countries who've had the world at bay with colonial rule. Look at the volcano that's spewing out in Hawaii. Look at the earthquake, the flooding, the tornadoes. Who do you think is causing that? And why is it? God is dissatisfied with our stewardship. I'm asking the city or the state of Alabama, particularly because we are headquartered here in Huntsville, to take part in this upcoming press conference. We're going to have a caller on the air that's going to join me. He's the vice director of Black Wall Street. He hails in Pale City, Alabama, and he's a former member, a head of the NAACP down in that area. And he's going to join us momentarily. But until he do, I want to go through this racial profiling, which is really not deep enough. Racial profiling talk about the police actions on the street, but we need to move it up to the corporations and the government that are in the suites that's fathering or wagging racial profiling on the street. Systemic racism is a known factor in America. Organized institutional racism is affecting the poor, whether you black, white, Hispanic. That is only pointed towards the 3% population. And I'd like to say about President Trump, he's only been in office a little over 2 years. How can we blame all the problems in America on this man when we had 16 years of Democratic rule? We got nothing. We had other Republicans that came on board. We got nothing. So what Barbara Jordan says is this in her talk: education. Don't we just can't send politicians? I mean, our people, our community out to vote without educating them on what they should be getting. Because in the political arena, there's a term that's called quid pro quo. You do something for something. You do something for something. And that's the way they govern. And that's the government of the world. That's the system of the world today. Quid pro quo. When Trump met with Putin, it was a quid pro quo meeting. That's all that is. It's just what you have for me and what I could give you. That's the exchange. When he met with the Korean leader, they discussed that, and now we see prisoners that have, soldiers that have been laid to rest for many years are now returning. Their remains are now returning to America because the quid pro quo was, hey, give us our prisoners back. We'll back off of you. Give us the remains of our soldiers. So this is what the black leaders need to get on board with, and this is going to be handled at the press conference. I would like to invite you to be there or remain square. That's just a slang saying, but I'm just calling you out, leaders in the community, both black, white, or Hispanic, Asians. Come on out and let's put this political policy to the politician. We're going to have a workshop that's going to include a professor in public policy from one of the universities here. So we got a lot of things planned with Black Wall Street. Is that our guest, Gary? Vice Director Spike?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So as you could tell, I'm highly passionate today because I've been going through some disturbing facts when I was reading about the public policy and how oblivious we are to what politicians or what the political arena owe the community, owe their constituents, owe America. And we blacks are at the bottom of the rung, but we are the problem. You fix this problem, you solve the problem of the world. So, Pastor Vice Director, I'd like you to go ahead and say something, relieve me for a minute. But I know I have a question I'm going to ask you after you introduce yourself and just tell us how you doing, brother.
All right. Well, hey, good afternoon, good evening to Huntsville and its surrounding areas. I'm Vice Director Dante Spike from out of Hillman City, Alabama, with Black Wall Street, Alabama. Director, I was listening to you so passionately. Talk about the political policies and our black leaders and, how we are absent in the political realm. For so long, we have tried to separate from certain states, which is good, but we must also understand that black minority, as a minority, not just blacks, but Hispanics also, we are treated as if we are at the bottom of the totem pole. But at the same token, our vote, without our vote, politicians don't get elected. If you notice, so many politicians, they don't come around to the black neighborhoods and the black communities until it's election time. Well, listen, watch this. If we take back the power that has been given to us, then this will cease to exist. This will cease from happening. It continuously happens because our black leaders, our black community leaders, and majority of our black community leaders are the black pastors. Black pastors hold so much power and influence in the black community. When the black pastor goes, the black community goes because the community respects, uplifts, and they follow and reverence the pastor. So therefore, black pastors they need to become more acquainted with politics. They need to understand more about the democratic platform and understand the fact of what is owed to their community from these politicians. They're running upon a platform that says we're going to do this for the community, we're going to fix roads for the community, we're gonna fix parks for the community, we're gonna do subsidized reforms for libraries and books and education. But as soon as they get elected, they don't do it because the leaders in the community don't put no pressure on them or hold them accountable for what they have promised during the election time. So, but then we continuously go back and keep putting these same people back in office over and over again. It is time for it to stop and for the community to come back and say, hey, we may be a minority according to numbers, but our vote counts. Now, let's see you get elected without the vote of the Hispanic. Let's see you get elected without the vote of the black. Let's see that happen. It does not happen, does not take place.
Yes, sir. And another missing element, poor whites are not at the table after the election either.
No.
So we have to be mindful of that. And the talk about the need for this press conference, Vice Director Spike.
The need for this particular press conference is to rally the politicians, to give the politicians an opportunity to go on record within the community to say, hey, I want your vote, and this is why I want your vote. This, give it to us. This is the opportunity to go on platform, go on record, and say, hey, this is what I'm running off for. This is the ticket I'm running off for. This is what I'm setting myself up to give you, and this is what I want you to hold me accountable for. And then it gives us the opportunity to ask questions. It gives the black leaders, the black pastors, it gives minority leaders the opportunity to come and to confront these politicians and say, hey, well, now, especially the ones that are supposed to be the incumbents, what have you done for the past 2-3 years? You promised us this, but this didn't take place. So that's why this press conference is a big need and a big must for the community of Huntsville, because so many things have been overlooked and laid to the side because no one has been held accountable. And also politicians, it's a wake-up call for the community to come together, rally together, and say, hey, we are going to go out and vote. This is a must that we vote. Because one thing I'm a firm believer in, Director, is if you don't vote, you don't need to complain.
Right. And you're, yes.
You are not the solution, you are the problem.
Right.
If you're not voting, you are a problem. You are the problem. You are not the solution. Now, so this is a must for this press conference on one, for politicians to come out and focus their platform to us. Number two, the leaders to come out and show their support to the community. And three, for us to rally behind and get a jump start on people that are not vote ready to vote. Hey, let's help them get ready to vote and get these people out to the polls. So every vote counts and your voice counts. Your voice is your vote.
Right. And along with the getting people out to vote, they have to be educated voters, not manipulated by hearsay. We've been listening to Uncle Elmo and Aunt Jenny far too long without getting the proper understanding of what these system is all about. It's an organized system to keep us in check.
Director, so many people go to vote polls and vote booths, and they all these different amendments, and they have no idea what these amendments are about.
Right.
They have no idea how these amendments affect them directly.
And another thing, how they are dispersed, how the funding is dispersed.
Yes.
Uh,
After these amendments pass, and after all this stuff is put into action, people are complaining, and they're saying how they've been overlooked. Well, you're not being overlooked. You just didn't vote, and now the amendment has passed, and the majority has won.
right. So what Black Wall Street?
We have to be educated, and that's what Black Wall Street come in, because we're an organization that is geared to financial literacy, educational literacy on politics, on entrepreneurship, on unification of communities. This is what we are standing for. This is the platform we are organized up on. So with this, we are trying to bring a new awareness to the community and to the state of Alabama.
And this embodied our philosophy, which is the need for transformational leadership. And we're calling on the pastors, the leaders, different organizational leaders here to join us, because as Vice Director said, you either part of the solution or you are the problem. If you don't see yourself in this solution, and don't tell me you got to your position all on your own merits. It was people in the 60s, young people, grassroots people in the 50s, the 60s that withstood the biting of dogs, the water hose, the jailing, and the slapping, and the this and that to get you where you are. Now you're there, you close the door and say, I got mine, now go get yours. Well, God is not pleased with that. He's not pleased with your stewardship. So therefore, he's affecting your finances. He's affecting your offsprings. But Black Wall Street is not going to stand by idly to take part in that. Vice Director, we are part of the solution. We're asking others to become part of the solution or remain the problem. But God, know that if God is all seeing, all wise, all knowing, he know your action.
Yes. Yes. Well, Director McKay, it is, I want to just reemphasize one more time how important this is. I mean, I really would like to see us feel overflow at this press conference. I would like to see the leaders in overflow. I would like to hear the political leaders and say, hey, we want to be part of this press conference. We want to be part of this. We want to lay out our platform and see, don't it make a difference?
Okay.
Let's work together and get these people to the polls,
And
educate these people on these amendments and all these other things that's going on in the Huntsville area and in the state of Alabama, and let's move forward together. United as one, we will stand, or divided we will fall.
Thank you, Vice Director. We're running out of time, but I want to state tentatively the press conference is slated for August the 15th. We have a seminar on August the 18th at the public library downtown. We would like to maybe carry that over into a workshop dealing with public policies at that time. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to get back with you next week. Thank you for listening. I pray that you call, but let me give a phone number, 256-945-4515, 256-945-4515. And the email address is info@BWS, spelled out, .org. Let us know you're listening to us and you're with us. Good evening. Have a great week of learning your position in the community. Thanks. Of responsibility. You got me off.